Welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time you are here, please consider hitting that subscribe button there in the corner. While you're at it, ring that little bell. What that'll do is notify you every time I put out a new video. I put out new videos every single Tuesday. What do we talk about? All things real estate, all things Palm Beach, all things the Western communities within Palm Beach. This week, once again, I brought in a special guest, and the topic is VA loans. We're going to talk the benefits and all they can do for you, and we're going to get started right now. This week I brought in Danny Sidenberg. He works for Cross Country Mortgage, and the reason why I chose him for this topic is we were in a networking group for several years together, and I always heard when he did his presentation his passion for the military and all it represents, and so he knows VA loans better than anyone I know. So let's get started by Danny. Why don't you just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your journey in mortgages and a little bit about introduction of VA loans and what they do for us.
Absolutely. Thank you. First and foremost, thank you for having me, Ray. It's an honor, a privilege. As Ray mentioned, I'm with Cross Country Mortgage. I have been with this company since 2017. I've been in the originating mortgages since 1998. And in my opinion, if a potential buyer is eligible for a VA loan, it is the best loan option on the market for a buyer. They have several benefits. We're going to start, I believe, talking a bit about how you can be eligible for a VA loan. So they're pretty much anyone who has served in the military. What does that mean? That means that you had 90 days, you could have qualified if you served 90 days of active wartime, or if you were in the military for at least 181 consecutive days during peacetime. If you were in the National Guard for more than 6 years, or in the reserves for more than 6 years, you are eligible for a VA loan.
So Danny, before we go into the VA benefits and what it can do for you, let's first start, and you can explain to us why is it that you're so passionate about this program? I know it does a lot of great things, but you tell the story with such great passion. Why is that?
Thank you, Ray. Yeah. So for me, it's always an honor to do this for our veterans who have served in our military, but it has a special place in my heart. My grandfather was in World War II, served in the Navy, and then my father was a career military man. He was a Green Beret Special Forces, member of the 82nd Airborne as a flight surgeon, volunteered after med school, joined the Green Berets back in the late 60s, went to Vietnam, stayed in the military all the way through the mid-90s, where he served in places like Honduras, Grenada, as well as the first Gulf War.
That's awesome. And he's buried in a national cemetery.
He is. As a result, he retired as a full colonel in the Army, and he is buried in Arlington National Cemetery, which I get an opportunity to go visit on an annual basis.
That's awesome. See, my dad also was in the military. He was maybe not as extensive a career, but he was in the theater of Korea, and he's also buried in one of our national cemeteries, along with my mom together.
That's fantastic.
About some of the benefits this program can deliver for us.
Awesome. So as a veteran of the military, the VA loan offers several benefits to utilize as a home buyer. The biggest benefit that most people recognize is that a veteran who has a VA eligibility can qualify for a zero money down loan program. That means 100% financing for them up to the county limits, where in South Florida will take you as high as $500,000 this year, or $510,000. One of the additional benefits is, even with no money down, there is no mortgage insurance as an additional payment on that program. And when it comes to underwriting, the guidelines are much more lenient than they are on many of the other programs, meaning you could have lower credit scores as low as 600 FICO scores, and debt ratios as high as 67% in some cases, and still get approved for a VA loan.
It said that in many cases people put no money down, but I'm sure that's not true in all cases. Tell us a little about what some of the options we have.
So obviously no money down is an option up to the county loan limits of $510,000, which they were just recently raised to. If you obviously as a borrower or VA borrower, you have the option to put money down if you choose. You can put down as 10% and still take advantage of no PMI. And then if you go over the county limits, let's say you wanted to buy a place for $1 million, there's a formula we put in place where you can possibly, for the argument's sake of this video, put as little as 5% down on $1 million purchase through a VA loan with no mortgage insurance. Keep in mind, even in the no money down options, Ray, there are still closing costs associated with every mortgage in the entire country, South Florida obviously. And we typically like to say, depending on the county you're in, you want to set aside 3 to 4% of the purchase price for closing costs. Now, Ray may be able to negotiate with a seller for you where they may be willing to pick up some of the costs. That's an added benefit if you're able to, but you want to be able to at least have 3 to 4% put aside, because you're also going to need to put down money in escrow when you put your offer in with the contract. You also have to factor in the fact that there's an appraisal, which is part of that 3 to 4%. Average cost through the VA is $450 to $475. You're going to want to get a whole home inspection, right? Which average cost $350 to $450 on that. And then you may also need a property survey, which, depending on the company, anywhere from $375 to $475. All of those figures are part of that 4% number we're speaking.
Let's talk about timelines. Okay, my experience is, if I'm taking a buyer around to look at homes, I want them to get pre-approved right away for a couple reasons. First, let's see how much they can qualify for. They might, in fact, qualify for more than they actually thinking they can for. So that's one reason. Secondly, if we come across something that they want to jump on, we have a pre-approval letter in hand, and we can make an attractive offer immediately, especially in a competitive situation. So beyond that, Danny, tell us a little bit about the other timelines when it comes to loans and so forth with VA loans. What else is involved?
Absolutely. So as Ray said, it's always great to go get pre-approved ahead of time. It allows you to know exactly what you do qualify for, so that you're not looking for something out of your price range, or you may qualify for more than you anticipated. We like to do that up front. With any lender, you want to do that. You want to have your credit run, you want to have your income documents reviewed, as well as your asset documents. You knock all that out, and with any good lender, they will give you a full on pre-approval, not just a pre-approval letter or pre-qualification, so that when I hand personally a pre-approval letter to Ray, he can take that to the bank and know that that client is going to ultimately get approved. So that's your first step in the process. Your next step is, once you have that, you guys will go find a home, Ray will put you under contract, and that's when the clock starts for you. Typical lenders might want up to 45 days to process the entire file, as there's several moving parts: ordering appraisal, title, inspections. My company personally, we have an internal guideline where we try to get all of our loans from the day we send the application out to the client to the day we're done. We try to shoot for a 21-day time frame.
My next question to you is, do all homes qualify, and are there any homes or types of homes that you want to stay away from?
It's a great question, Ray. So ideally, you want to go with a single-family home and or what would be classified as a townhome. Condos are eligible as long as the condominium association has previously been VA approved. You do want to stay away from what we would call fixer-uppers, Ray, because when the appraiser comes out, they're going to do a very intense appraisal on that, and if there is a property that is not in great shape, it may have trouble qualifying for the VA loan. So you want to stay away from that, and the property also needs to be an owner-occupied property, meaning it's going to be your primary residence. It can't be a vacation home. It cannot be an investment property. It can be a multi-unit. So if you are looking to buy a 2-unit property and live in one of the units, that is acceptable as well.
Fantastic. This is great stuff, Danny. So a couple things. Is there anything else you'd like to add? And if people have questions about anything we talked about here, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
Awesome. Once again, Ray, I just want to say thank you again for having me. As I mentioned, I just find the VA loan to be the strongest loan out there. I think all veterans deserve this loan and should take advantage of it. As far as getting a hold of me, you can reach me on my personal number. I keep my cell phone, as Ray knows, on 24/7, 365. My number is 561-901-4907. You can also reach me through email at Danny, that's D-A-N-N-Y, the letter S for my last name, Sidenberg, at myccmortgage.com. Again, Danny S at myccmortgage.com. And I'd like to, at this time, Ray, thank you for having me on, and as an added benefit to anyone who's watching this video, any clients that come to us through this video, through Ray and myself, I would like to personally let them know that we will offer a 1% minimum credit towards their closing costs for using us.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all you do, because these people served us. Now it's our turn to serve the military back. So if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to Danny. You can also come to myself. I want to tell you a little bit about some fantastic programs we have at ERA Home Run Real Estate. I'm part of the A-Team. What does that mean? We have a great new program. It's called Military Rewards. It can provide benefits of up to $7,500 back at cash back at closing or in rewards. And we also have something called the Navy Federal program, which is also great. Another way to help serve or show respect to our veterans for what they've done in serving us. So, a lot here. Hope you have some great value out of this, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next one.